Okay, welcome back to part 3 of our Alpha Models 1/24th Ferrari 812 Competizione. And today we're starting off by flattening back our 2K. So this was 2K'd about a week ago. We're using some Trizex 6 and 8,000 pads to take the 2K back. Now we're doing this for two reasons. Number one, this will remove any dust or contaminants that may have landed in the 2K. It will also thin the 2K out a little bit. And also, once polished, give us a far superior shine than what we originally had. Now, at the airbrush, 2K is unbeatable as a clear coat. Nothing is as good as it at the brush. Once it's flatted back and polished up, it looks absolutely amazing. So, allow it suitable time to dry. I would say between 5 and 7 days to make sure it's fully cured. And then flat it back. The Trized pads are absolutely beautiful for this. They are specifically designed for paint. And they work absolutely brilliant. So it's a case of going all around the model, flatten it back, being careful of any raised areas or corners or edges where the paint's thinner, and just gently take back the paint and just take the top shine off the paint. Should also remove any dust or horribles off the paint. So we do that with the 6 and the 8,000. Then we're going to come in with our Zoom On polishing pads, which you can get from us over at Pro Scale. And Menzerner compounds. I've got 2,500 here. Let's go 3,500 and Autoglim Super Resin Polish as well. We're going to apply it by finger to save it splattering everywhere. And then using my Proxon rotary tool with the coarse compound sponge, we're going to go around and polish all the paint up. So we're going to use a coarse sponge with a coarse compound, and then a medium sponge with a medium compound, and then the fine sponge with the super resin polish at the end. And as we go through, this will get shinier and shinier. And again, just be careful that you don't catch any raised areas or corners with this. You don't want to burn through the paint. And most of all, be careful with the hard plastic tool of the sponges as well. It does damage paint if it hits it. So as you can see here, I put a piece of electrical tape around it, which does limit the damage somewhat. But still be careful and don't linger too long on areas you don't want to burn through the paint. Now, I tend to go over each part twice. With this, I'll let you go over it and then come back at the end and hit it again. But consistency is what you need here. Just go around it all equally all the way around. You're going to repeat this process for each and every step of the way of the compound sponges and the compounds and polishes as well until we're done. Now, I've sped this up just so we can see how it goes all over. So I'm literally doing one side at a time, cleaning it off with a clean bit of microfiber cloth. Get rid of any residue out of there as well, and then moving on to the next section as well. So just take your time, working your way around systematically, and then work through all the different courses of sponge and compounds until you're happy that you're done. So it's a step well worth doing. Not a lot of people don't polish the 2K. Trust me, it's well worth doing. As good as it looks at the airbrush, it will look a lot better, flatted back and polished up. It will make it look a lot more scale and a lot more shiny as well. It really will improve it. Now, the one downside to our 2K is because it dries nice and thin, it doesn't fill the panel lines like a lot of 2Ks do. That's not the downside. The downside is when you're polishing it, you end up with polish residue in and amongst all the panel lines. So the easiest way to deal with that is with a toothbrush to get rid of the majority, and then some water and an airbrush and jet wash it out. So just go around the model, airbrushing all the nooks and crannies to get rid of all the residue, hit it with a toothbrush again if needed, and then we'll dry it off, and that's it. We are ready to go. So the polished body is looking absolutely fantastic. So glad I chose this colour. The carbon work looks great. The clear coat looks absolutely flawless. Probably my best clear coats to date. And this job here, quite satisfying to do actually. Quite a fun job to do. A little bit of water in there. Make sure you don't pick up any lacquer thinner, whatever you do. And when you're done, just go to air and blow off all the water. And then dry it off with a clean piece of kitchen paper or a microfiber cloth. So we got all those nooks and crannies just with air. And there we go. Another job well done. So we've all dried. We're now going to paint our interior black and all our wheel arches. So we've got some Vallejo model colour black. We paint all the interior roof A and B and C pillars in black. I'm just doing all the wheel arches as well. So some careful brush painting here. Now the beauty of putting water-based paint over 2K is, if you get it anywhere you don't want it, it will literally wipe off with a moistened cotton bud. So no worry about getting too much, but obviously try and be as neat as you possibly can, because the less cleanup you've got to do, the better. Saves you a bit of time. But it's an important step to do this, especially on the interior as well. It ties it all together. So just take your time here and get it all nicely painted up. So I'm using a nice flat wet brush here. Watercolor black, thin with a drop of water. And there we go, all done. We've then masked up around all our windows as well. You've seen me do this dozens of times, so I kind of left it out of this video today. We used a combination of Azu thin tapes and Tamiya 6, 10 and 18mm tapes and some cling film as well, or saran wrap, sandwich wrap, to mask it all off. And then we're going to paint those in Mr. Service 1500. My interior has been carboned with the carbon decals in the kit. My lovely flocker Hannah has flocked the interior for me in ProScale black flocking. And we're just applying the photo etch, accelerator pedal, brake pedal, etc. in place with some CA glue. So they're tricky to do these. I just need to bend them a little bit more. We'll get it all in place. Like so. There we go. That's both of those in. And then the seats. So some Bob Smith's gold. Our seats were assembled earlier on, making sure we get the right side in the right place. They will be handed, so make sure you get the controls on the right side. And then just push it home. Now the Bob Smiths just take a little bit longer to dry, so just take your time here. Same on the other one. There are very small locator points, so make sure you get those. They're not the most positive points, but you can feel them if you feel around. Then our floor mats, a little bit of Bob Smiths on the floor. We can drop these in place. Nice little touch, these. They look really good on our textured paint as well. The Bob Smith's Gold is an invaluable modelling superglue. I could not cope without it now. It's non-fogging, so it won't fog clear part. It gives you a bit of time to work on part as well, because it does take a little bit longer to dry. It's an invaluable glue to have in your arsenal of tools. So there we go. There's our floor mat in, our seats in. Little stripes of yellow and the writing really starting to liven up the interior. So there we go. Floor mats look good. Seats look really good as well. Very nice. So a whole host of parts to go in here. We've got all sorts of photo etch, resin. There's a mixture of textured and carbon parts as well. Now, I did originally intend for this just to be a test fit. So I did plan to install the dashboard, because the dashboard's a very positive fit. So I literally lined it up and then pushed it home. I was like, yeah, that seems to fit there well. And then we'll try the door cards as well. Make sure you get them the right way around. And again, nice fit as well, quite a nice positive fit on those. Making sure they line up with the tops of the doors. And then we can slide these pieces in here. And there we go. Now, like I said, I did just intend this to be a test fit. I had no intention of putting the cockpit in, but literally when it was in, it wasn't coming back out. It's a very tight fit there, so you need to insert it in the back, and it kind of clips in the front, but once it's in, it isn't coming back out. So make sure you got this fully assembled before you do. Hence why I'm gluing the door cards in from the top rather than the bottom like I usually would. So yeah, make sure you got all your interior fully assembled before you even test fit any of it in place. And also be careful you put the CA glue in from the outside and getting on the body. If you do, use some Bob Smith's debonder, the green bowl, and that will take CA glue off 2K with no damage at all. There we go. That interior looking absolutely beautiful on the yellow. Really does suit it. But yeah, thankfully I had it all together before I got it in, because there's no way this was coming back out. it's a very tight fit and it kind of clicks itself in place. Now we've got some Bob Smith's glue again. This is the purple one. And a few dabs of this is going to secure our rear diffuser in place, which is looking beautiful 2K'd as well. The time spent carboning these parts was well worth it. Well worth it. I'm going to put a little bit of glue in the back as well, just to hold it at the very top. It's in an area that can't be seen, so we can put a bit more in them. Maybe we would normally if it could be seen. We get a bit of kicker on our brush, and that will set the CA glue instantly. Now, screw holes for the underneath. Normally quite happy screwing these, but I didn't fancy drilling in the parts where it wanted me to drill. So I thought, you know what? I'm gluing it in place. So some strategic places of CA glue, and it'll hold it in just as good as screws without the unsightly screws underneath. So, yep, that's what I opted to do. The only hindsight I would have done was maybe painted those exposed parts black, but it is what it is. Now the wheel hubs, I've test fitted these. I do know which way around they're going to go. Always test fit any of these parts before you commit to it, because you glue them upside down or the wrong way round, they're a nightmare to get back off without damaging them. So make sure you test fit everything. Do not rely on those instructions, which is a word I'm going to use in the loosest sense of the word. Do your own research, make sure everything fits. So with the hubs in, we can get the calipers in, and again, make sure you get these orientated the correct way. Look at real life references of the car to see the orientation. So they're glued in place like so. And again, I've already tested the discs as well, so they fit. And again, the precision applicators, very useful. So I like this stage of the build. Now this is where things start to come alive. You just start getting bits in there and starting to get parts on. The car starts to look absolutely beautiful. And this is absolutely stunning, this car. I have to say, this is probably one of my best pieces of work I've ever done. I'm not one for the self-opinionated pats on the back, but I'm very happy how this one turned out, and I think it is to date one of my best pieces of work. It is definitely one of my flagships showing off the Pro Scale Paints products, and I'll happily display it. Quick test fit of the wheel in the hubs as well, and they sit in absolutely perfectly. So get it in place, hold it for a few seconds. Same application on the back as well. Get the calipers in. Make sure you get the handbrake calipers up at the back, and they also are painted black as well. And then pop the discs in place like so. And a quick test fit of the wheels. Now these did stick out about 0.5 mm more than I would have, and I did contemplate doing a bit of work. And when I looked at it, I thought, you know what, it's barely noticeable. The real car probably sits like this, so it wasn't worth the hassle. Now the rear lights, I've done this technique before. I've dipped them like this. So they are kind of cylindrical rear lights that are supposed to have a white insert. Now I noticed when I was assembling and dry fitting them that the insert didn't fit very well. And I sanded the holy bejesus out of them to get them to fit, and I still couldn't get them to fit. They're just too big. And when you sand them down, you're losing the inner wall, so you end up losing the strength of the part. So I opted not to fit them. And I'll be honest, you can't even notice they're not there. If I hadn't said anything, you wouldn't even look and notice they're not there. So the easiest way of doing these parts is to dip them. So this is X27 Tamiya acrylic. I'm just removing a little air bubble from inside so it can drain away. I've dipped it in the red. Just poking a hole in the back. Wiped off the excess, leave that to dry, and that will dry crystal clear and nice and glossy. So I'm going to repeat that for all 4 of them. For the front, we've got this grille, and it's a bit of an awkward bugger. It is. I actually had to trim this. It was a little bit too wide. So I painted it all, and I've just roughly shaped it by hand. And I just found I just need to trim this very edge off. It kind of slots in behind those intakes. So I actually got this in place with no glue whatsoever, by test fitting it and bending it and test fitting it. So it kind of slots in behind those intakes there, and then slots in the other side and kind of holds itself in. But by doing that, it was a little bit too long and it was springing. So I opted not to, just to cut it so it would sit with no tension. And I cut off 0.5 mm, if that, and it fell in place absolutely perfect. And like I say, zero glue at all, held itself in beautifully. Job done. Very happy. We've got a nice Ferrari logo to go on the front of this later on. Number plate on the back, I've done my normal trick of painting the photo etch number plate black and then sanding the upper surface off so we get a silver writing and exterior of the plate in silver. We've got some double-sided tape on the back and we'll just glue it, well, sticking it down in place, like so. Mirrors, we've got a dab of CA glue in there. We've got the photo etch mirrors cut off and using our Rodico cocktail stick, picking up the PE and placing it in. These work absolutely perfect. Then the windows, probably the most feared part of these kits by a lot of people, including me. I still find them a little bit daunting, but once you've done one or two, they become quite simple. So my best tip would be put some double-sided tape on, or sorry, some masking tape like this, make a little handle on the exterior. Do not touch the interior of that glass at all. There's a protective film on the outside of it. Make sure you keep it orientated the right way. The tape on the exterior helps keep it the right way. Now we've got one of our Pro Scale precision applicators here, and we've got some Bob Smith's Gold non-fogging CA glue. Make sure it's non-fogging. I'm just going to apply a strategic point, especially in corners and halfway down the pillars, some little dots of CA glue. And we're going to work our way around the entire glass. And I'm going to show this one in depth, and then the other two are exactly the same. Just very small pieces, don't need a lot of CA glue at all. There we go. Less is definitely more. And once you're happy you've got all the areas covered, grab your screen again, do not touch the inside, and then line it up. So you've already lined it up so you know it fits. So just make sure all four corners line up perfectly and then push them down. Now my biggest tip would be get some pointed cotton buds and become an octopus. So you need to try and hold 3 or 4 of these in one go, which is fun to do. So you end up propping and holding things with multiple hands and fingers. And then it's a case of burnishing it down all the way around. It will take a while for the glue to stick because that is the nature of the non-fogging. It does take a bit longer to dry, but the benefit is it doesn't white or fog the glass, which is exactly what we want. Now I'm going to get a corner here that won't quite stick, and it's this left-hand side nearest us. This edge, I'm holding it right now, just won't stick. So what I did was I picked it up with the tweezers and with our precision applicators, put a little bit more glue in, and then just hold it for a minute or two. I'm just literally on the internet there, replying to an email or something whilst holding it, and there we go, job done. Same on the side as well, just very strategic point of CA glue, but it won't be seen. Again, we test fitted the glass before we got to this point. Again, we've got a little holder on our glass as well. And again, don't touch the inside. Line it all up, push it home. Now, the side windows are normally always easier because there's not much more spring in them. So you can just literally hold it down and burnish it for a second or two, and it should get itself in place fairly straightforwardly. Is that even a word? Straightforwardly? It should be fairly straightforward to get it in place. Just run the tape, burnish the edges down all the way around. Just hold it for a second or two until it grabs. And there we go. Repeat that to the other side. And we've got the really satisfying part of peeling off the cellophane. This is protective film on this side. Now don't pull it towards yourself, pull it back on itself so it doesn't pull the screen back off. And then we can get our wing mirrors in place. Now, there's a bit of trim to go around these, and I've put it on before and didn't like how the wing mirrors sat on it. So we're going to put the mirrors on first, and then we're going to trim the outer trim to fit so it's a bit better. There's our mirrors in place. This thing is looking absolutely beautiful. Nice clear glass parts there. We've got the front unmasked as well. And then we've got the bane of my life, photo etch window wipers. So roughly assembled, a dab of CA glue, get them in place, and it's just like masking things. You either get it in one go or it'll take you 20. And a little bit of kicker, very carefully, don't touch any clear parts, just to kick it and hold it in place permanently. And then exactly the same for the other one. I'm just going to get this one in position properly. There we go. Exactly the same for the other one. A little dab of CA glue. They are finicky. I used to hate making them. That for me was the worst part. Now I've got no problem in making them. I hate gluing them in place. They are a pain in the butt. They either glue on straight away or 90% of the time they're just an utter pain and they keep falling over, falling off, moving. And if you're anything like me and a bit of a klutz, as soon as I go and polish the car, I snag one with the cloth and rip it off and have to glue it back on. But today, these kind of played ball. These didn't go on too bad at all. So a little bit of CA glue, a little bit of kicker. Let's get that kicked in place perfectly. And there we go. There's those on. Now, side indicators on these. There is some clear resin in the kit, but they stick out way too far. And if you look at a real car, they are very low profile side repeaters. So what I opted to do was infill the hole with Tamiya enamel silver, chrome silver, let it dry, wipe off the excess with a cotton bud, and then infill the very top of it with some clear. So I actually used some alkylate aqua gloss just to infill the very top of it. And that gave the impression of the side pieces. Look at the real car, you'll see what I mean. They are very low profile, and yet in the kit they stick out. They're very bulbous, and they do stick out quite a lot. So I think the way I did it was better for the way it looked. Ferrari badges, these are some of my MSN creations. These are actually a different brand because I've run out of MSN. I have 3 full sets now, so I'm ready to go. But these bubble badges, these are actually self-adhesive 3D bubble badges. Huge improvement over decals. They have some depth to them. They look like miniature real badges. So we've got the front badge here, and we've got some Scuderia plaques for the side. We've got the reverse stick-on metallic transfers for the back as well. Make sure this is straight. Don't commit to fully burnishing it down until you're happy. My advice would be get it roughly in place, then pick it up and move it around a bit and have a look. If you're not happy, move it. Take your time peeling it back off. When you are happy, burnish it down with a cotton bud. Then grab the edge of the clear part very gently and peel it away from itself again. Don't pull it up because it'll pull the badge off. There we go. Perfectly placed Ferrari badge and the prancing horse on the back exactly the same. It is centered. It looks off there. It is actually perfectly centered. I don't know what the impression is giving there. It must be the angle of the light or whatever it is, but it is perfectly centered. And again, we get the tape off the back as well. There we go. There's the prancing horse looking good. And the rear lights. So these are the outer rear lights. We're going to pop these in place. There's a little bit of Bob's Nest gold in there. They are fully dried. And then I'll show the clear parts going in. And you'll see exactly what I mean about them just not playing ball. Even completely sanded down as far as I could go. They just won't even remotely fit in. So I was like, yeah, they're not going in then. No, won't fit in. Yeah, never mind. So we're going to leave it off. Now, these are the window frames. Like I say, I've put these on the mirrors before the mirrors go on. I don't like how it looks. So what I've done is I've literally just cut it to where the mirror goes. So it's a perfect fit. So we need to be very careful here. Some very strategic placings of Bob Smiths to hold these in place. So these are gloss black over our acetate windows. Just hold for a second. Then we get some CA glue on our precision applicator, just on the edge of the front part of each one. My big grey head in the way. And then just hold it in place until the glue grabs. So simple to do, nice little look. It does add a bit of depth to the window. And obviously we'll repeat that for the other side as well. And then we've got some Scuderia Ferrari badges for the side as well. Now, there are decals in the kit. These look a million times better because they are actual 3D badges. So look, using a real life reference on my computer monitor to get the placement right. We can get them on, make sure they're straight and in the right position. Repeat that through the side as well. Real nice finishing touch, these. So if you want some of these, MSN Creation, MSM. So Michael, Sierra, Michael Creation. I think they're in Japan. And that's it, all done. So the final touch is some UMP shine spray on a glasses cleaning cloth. And we're going to give a nice bit of a wax detail shine over the whole car. So this isn't abrasive, it just leaves a haze behind. You buff it off and it leaves a nice glossy finish. And this thing's looking absolutely fantastic, it really is. So just be gentle here, don't do what I do and end up snagging window wipers off with the cloth and ripping things off. And what I would also recommend is if you've been gluing anything on, be it window wipers, door frames, indicators, mirrors, leave it overnight, especially with the Bob Smith's Gold, because it does take a while to fully cure, because you don't be running this cloth over here and snagging some uncured CA glue and streaking it across the body, because it'll make an unholy mess of the whole thing. Once it's hazed off, use a dry side of the cloth to buff it off to a nice high shine. And there we go. Absolutely stunning looking car, this. I've got a nice video of this here as well. So you can see what it looks like outside. So there we go. Looking lovely. That yellow metallic pearl looks absolutely spanking. All the carbon work looks great. Windows look good. Interior looks great as well. Really happy how this one's turned out. And as I say, the gunmetal wheels look amazing. Carbon ceramic brakes, yellow calipers look absolutely brilliant as well. It's just overall just a beautiful looking car, it really is. And outside in the sun, the colour really comes alive. You can see the depth of that pearl yellow. Beautiful 2K, as polished up, an absolute treat. And as I said, this to me is one of my best pieces of work to date I think I've ever done. And is definitely a flagship of ProScale and what I've achieved so far with my paints. So very happy with this one. It's a beautiful car, a great kit as well, and I'm very happy how this model's turned out. So yeah, over the moon with this one. So I hope you've enjoyed watching it as well. And if you built the kit, let me know in the comments down below. We've got some pictures inside in the booth as well, where you can see the depth of colour as well under artificial light. So this was primed in, I think it was ProScale white primer, painted in the Giallo yellow pearl from ProScale Ferrari colour. Two-stage paint with a base and a tint. We then carbon decaled all the exterior parts. We painted some parts black as well and put the silver stripe over the roof. It was all then given a Tamiya panel line wash and then 2K cleared. Wheels are ProScale light gunmetal. Calipers are ProScale paint caliper yellow. Ceramic grey on the discs. We've got interior painted a mixture of Napa black leather and textured black paints from ProScale. The black flock for the car from ProScale as well. Some gunmetal in there. The kit decals, the kit carbon in there as well, which looks absolutely beautiful. And this was all flatted back with the Trizec 3M 6 and 8000 pads, sponges, and polished up with the Zoom on polishing compound sponges and Minturna compounds to a beautiful high shine, and then finally given a wipe over with the UMP shine spray, and I think just a great colour combination. I had a really nice picture of this car for inspiration, and that's where I followed along for the build. And like I say, really happy this turned out. It's a beautiful looking car, a really nice model as well from Alpha. I highly recommend this one. It is a current production one. It is out there, so you can still get it yourself. There's no real issues with it other than those rear lights. And like I say, if you look, you can't even really notice they're not in there. So you've really got to look to see they're not in there. And yeah, it's just a great kit. So I highly recommend this one. Definitely not for a beginner. It is quite a complex one. Lots of carbon as well, which you don't have to do if you don't want to. But it definitely does add to the look of the car. And a lot of people don't like that bonnet aero wing, but it's grown on me. It has grown on me. I built both the standard car and this car, and it has grown on me. And with the background there as well, it looks great. It's just a really great colour. It looks great in all different lights and aspects. And like I say, just a brilliant model from Alpha Models as well. So there we go. That's another build off the bench. We're approaching build number 20 of the year now with this one. And I hope you've enjoyed watching that. Let's go back to me for some final thoughts. Okay, there we go. All done. What can we say? Awesome. Absolutely awesome kit. Other than the problem I have with the rear lights, faultless kit. No issues whatsoever that. Really detailed kit. Great interior. Loads of carbon, which is just a real nice addition. The pre-cut carbon is a massive bonus with any of these kits. And just a truly enjoyable build. My favourite Alpha model kit to date that I've built, I think. And as I said through the video, probably my best result ever. Probably my best models I've ever built. And as I said, also probably it's a great advert for ProScale because it shows off our 2K and our two-stage paint systems and metallics just absolutely perfectly. So over the moon with this one. Really enjoyed the build. So much so, I've cracked on with another Alpha model kit straight away. Talk about that in a minute. And just, yeah, look forward to build this one quite some time and finally got it done. And there it is. It lives on my bench there. Look, you can just see it sneaking out under the Mac there. So yes, a very, very enjoyable build. Have you built this kit? Have you got it? Are you thinking of getting it? It is a current release kit. You can still buy it. I am tempted to get another one. I enjoyed this that much. So yeah, if you built it, you think of getting it, let me know in the comments down below. And that's it. Another build off the bench. We've just started the Lamborghini Miura from Hasegawa. That's nearly finished as well. And I've just picked up another Alpha Models, which is the 488 Pista, which you remember we painted 3 times after calamities with paint about 2 years ago. And I've just stripped it and repainted it in ProScale Rosso Scuderia, which is the lighter Rosso Corsa colour. So you're going to see that soon. So it'll be Lamborghini first and then the Ferrari next. So if you're watching on ISM, you're about 10 builds behind. You're way behind. Patreon gets 3 month early access. That's a lot of builds for me. So as I say in every video, if you're on our Patreon, there's a link down below. You get 3 months early access to all the videos, 10% off ProScale paint if you go tier 4 or higher. You get added to a Facebook group where we share all our work, Facebook Messenger chat. You get a weekly bench update every Sunday where I go through all the groups, look at your work and what you've been posting and sharing. And with the support of the patrons, without them, I couldn't do this. This is what keeps me able to do this. The patrons do that. So if you want to become a patron, click the link down below. Excuse me. There's a link down there. Show you all the applicable tiers. Start at like £3.50, I think it is. And there's links to everything else down there. ProScale paints, the forum, Facebook page, our email address, my scale mates. All the products I use in the videos are listed down there. There's a link to my Amazon store with a load of products in there I use as well. And as always, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up or down. Click the bell notifications, get notified of the latest videos, and leave a comment. I love reading all your comments. I might not reply to them all, but I do truly love reading all your comments down below. And there we go. So enjoy the rest of the day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.